A $3,800 drone just flipped a 16-kilometer front. Not hype, watch how a single Vampire FPV turned a mined river crossing into a kill zone and forced a 6-week detour. We'll break down the exact strike point that set off 30 TM-62s, roughly 500 pounds TNT equivalent, why Ukrainian jammers made Russian radar go dark, and how that one blast collapsed the Tata River Bridge. Then we follow the Cascade, Caesar 155's torch fuel and ammo, T-84's Screen River teams, and a GMRS missile cracks a warehouse. Want to see asymmetric warfare in sequence, start to finish? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The bridge is the choke. Mines sit under every panel and in the mud at both banks, so where do you point a strike when any wrong move means a blast and a blackout? You hunt the fuse, not the span. You pick the one link that sets off the chain and clears the crossing by breaking it. The reconnaissance problem comes first. TM-62 belts arc beneath the road deck and ripple out along the approaches. Overlapping fields of fire cover the rails, the culverts, the berm. That bridge feeds a long slice of front, so trucks, fuel, and shells all ride that slab. If you try to cross it head-on, you feed the guns. Conventional pushes die here. Mud locks wheels. Sensors hear engines. A squad steps, the ground answers back. Movement draws lines on a hidden map, and every line ends with a crater. So you strip the ground first, layer by layer, until the pattern shows. A Pelinetsia scout drone works the air like a metal detector with wings. It reads the small hints, a ring of disturbed soil by a pier, a halo of cold spots where hands packed mud, a skew in the magnetic field that points to steel discs. Below, a ground robot crawls the shadow, measuring gap, tilt, and fuse face, checking if the plate sits proud or canted, logging the spacing so one hit can jump to the next. The pattern tightens near a load-bearing pillar. Mines sit closer there, wired and stacked for sympathetic fire, the kind that makes one blast kick the neighbor awake. Hit that cluster, you don't clear a lane, you drop the backbone. A single impact becomes a saw. Electronic warfare creates the window. Ukrainian jammers push noise across the local bands and smear radar returns into fog. Comms break, operators tap at dead screens. For a moment, all the sensors blink. That moment is the open door reset. You step through it or you lose the day. Meanwhile, deception sets the aim wrong. A cheap FPV powers up hot and loud, flies erratic, and screams in a straight line across the obvious approach. Optics swing, fire control keys on. Barrels and eyes follow the bait. The real route goes quiet. Now the shot. A Vampire FPV slides low along the river, beneath the clutter, cutting through ground haze and engine echo. It threads the gap between wired charges and buried discs, aiming not at concrete, but at the mine most likely to jump the belt under the central span. No heroics. Just a clean punch into the pressure plate that unlocks the chain. Ignition. 30 TM-62s go off in seconds. The force stacks under the deck like a hammer. The pillar shears. The main spans fold and drop, steel groans once, then vanishes into white dust and black water. The crossing is gone, and the river takes the wreck. Dust hangs. The echo rolls down the valley and off the roads that fed this bridge. What was a single blast is now a wider field of fire. Crews scramble. Routes twist. Radios clip back on, late. The kill zone just grew from a tight box under a span to every lane that needs that crossing. With the bridge down, the plan widens fast. Supply will slow, repair will lag, and every mile becomes a target-rich strip. That one strike opened the door. The next 6 weeks will walk through it. A bridge falls. A region slows. What turns a broken span into a route collapse is simple: time. Every minute adds friction. Every reroute burns fuel, adds risk, and hands you targets. With the crossing gone, convoys peel off toward a country detour that can't carry the load. The lane is narrow. The shoulders are soft. Rain turns the clay to glue. Heavy trucks bog and grind in low gear, leaving a line of steel that moves like a parade. Engines run loud. Exhaust hangs low. Drones hear it before binoculars see it. You can feel the vulnerability from a map. Units try to pivot, but the clock punishes motion. The longer they sit, the more eyes find them. Crews shift weight to keep axles from sinking, but that costs minutes and burns diesel. Drivers avoid the ditch with wide turns that expose hulls to every tree line. The window to strike is short, so you cue fires fast and make the most of the first 48 hours. Artillery starts the harvest. Caesar 155s key in on the nodes, not the road, stacked fuel, wrapped shells, parked transports. First bursts rip open drums. Flames step to pallets. A soft boom becomes hard blasts as stocks cook off. The riverbank edge turns chaotic fast, shrapnel, smoke, and men diving for what cover remains under shattered girders and torn rail ties. Crews tasked to repair now fight fires instead of measuring spans. Upstream, an armor screen holds the line. Two T-84s work in pairs, alternating fire to keep barrels cold and optics clear. They rake likely firing points on the far tree line, kick up dirt to cloak the river teams, and keep heads down long enough for boats to slip across. Tanks see for the infantry, and the infantry moves in their shadow. On the near bank, the shore stays silent by design. Snipers watch the narrow radio loop that keeps local units in touch. When a relay op reaches for the handset, a single crack cuts the link. It denies the quick call for guns, drone eyes, or fast movers. You don't need to kill the net. You only need to slow it so the next volley lands unchallenged. Overhead, air denial trims the enemy's vision. An IRIS-T locks onto a hostile drone and erases it mid-flight before it can beam back grids. One less eye means fewer corrections onto Ukrainian positions and more doubt about what sits beyond the smoke. The deception bubble holds. Then the reach extends. A GMRS missile from a Mars launcher arcs for a warehouse tied to the detour. The roof takes the hit, then fails inward. Stacks of munitions go off in sequence, echoing down alleys and into side yards. Trucks meant to spread out now have to reverse through flame and debris. Fallback routes, gone. Staging, gone. The corridor shrinks again. On the backroads, the detour crawls. Weight limits force spacing. Bridges bow under each pass. Drivers wave each other forward in short bounds because the span ahead can't take two at once. One stuck trailer turns into a wall. Drones orbit. You don't need a big strike to stop a column when the road is a bottleneck. A small hit at the wrong moment does more than a dozen shells fired blind. By the second day, the breach at a single crossing has grown into a regional choke. Convoys shift to gravel lanes. Repair crews need weeks. Ammunition runs thin near the line. The tempo drops, not from lack of will but from lack of flow. That is the power of cost, timing, and discipline. A cheap precision strike at the right fuse moves the front more than a battalion push. Next, we break down why low-cost precision, layered EW, and smart pacing keep opening doors like this, and where the next door likely sits. Low-cost precision works when it pairs with layered EW and strict timing. One drone can force a 6-week reroute if it hits the right fuse at the right second. That's asymmetric cost exchange in action. A cheap strike triggers a chain, turns a minefield inward, and starves a front. Comment your choice below. Do you back more cheap precision drones, heavier EW saturation, or deeper strike munitions first to win more routes like this? If you want to understand the tactical mindset that wins these battles, subscribe now. Subscribe and join a community that seeks to understand the realities of modern conflict.